Look, if you're one of those who's been following every step of Newcastle United in this transfer window, hold on tight, because today's news is on fire. There's a big name in the spotlight, a player leaving a gap in his contract, fierce competition, and even a rumor involving a Manchester City star. Subscribe to the channel, and let's dive into the news that could change the face of the Magpies this season. And the first bombshell of the day comes straight from Merseyside. Dominic Calvert-Lewin has yet to give Everton an answer about a renewal. That's right, the English striker, an old acquaintance of Eddie Howe, could be on his way out of Goodison Park, and guess who's keeping an eye on him? Newcastle. Calvert-Lewin was already a target of the Magpies last season, but negotiations stalled due to Everton's demands, who wanted Yankuba Minte as a bargaining chip. Now, with his contract expiring at the end of June, the scenario has changed. If he becomes a free agent, all that's left to do is agree on personal terms. And there's more. With Callum Wilson in the mood to leave, and Isak needing a worthy backup, Calvert-Lewin could be the name to arrive at St James's Park. Everton have already confirmed that he hasn't made up his mind yet, which only increases expectations. The question that won't go away is, will Howe make the move this time? And speaking of attack, there's another hot name circulating behind the scenes at the club, João Pedro, Brighton striker. Newcastle have returned to the Brazilian after 3 years since the first flirtation. Only now, Brighton are more willing to negotiate. The South Coast club is already an expert in transforming young prospects into millionaire figures. João Pedro cost £30 million in 2023, but he could leave for up to £60 million now. Is he a tough prospect? Yes. But the player has an appealing profile, versatile, young, and with an eye for goal. Even with Brighton admitting they could lose him, manager Fabian Hürzeler is still backing the striker, despite a training snafu at the end of the season. Is it worth the investment? With Newcastle planning to strengthen 4 positions, 2 strikers, a defender, and a goalkeeper, every penny needs to be carefully calculated. And it's not just João Pedro who's on the radar. Nottingham Forest star Anthony Elanga has also been back on the agenda. The 23-year-old Swede shone in the last Premier League with 6 goals and 11 assists in 38 games, and is seen at St James's Park as a promising player for the future. The Magpies' interest is not new. Last summer, an offer of $35 million was rejected. Now, the price has risen, and could reach $60 million to open any talks. Meanwhile, Elanga sent an emotional message to teammate Harry Toffolo, who will leave Forest, and further fueled the rumors of his own exit. And one detail that weighs in his favor: Elanga has a good relationship with Alexander Isak, which could make it easier for him to adapt and get along. Eddie Howe sees in him the potential to grow even more. Will he do it now? And finally, a major piece of speculation. Jack Grealish, yes, that's right, has been linked to Newcastle in recent days. But wait a minute. Sources close to the Manchester City player have already put the brakes on this story. Although newspapers have suggested a possible loan with City covering part of his salary, the reality is different. Grealish earns $300,000 a week, outside of Newcastle's current salary structure. What's more, Howe himself has already made it clear that despite his admiration for the player, this type of signing is unlikely, especially now. The truth is that Newcastle's directors are used to seeing the club's name being used as bait in market negotiations. The focus continues to be on a right-footed striker, another more versatile striker, a defender and a new goalkeeper, and, apparently, a left winger like Grealish is not at the top of the list. The window has barely opened, and the cauldron is already boiling on Tyneside. Calvert-Lewin, João Pedro, Elanga, and even Grealish. Which of these names would you like to see wearing black and white? Will Howe be able to assemble an even stronger and more competitive squad for next season? Leave your opinion in the comments. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of this transfer drama, and share this video with other Magpies fanatics like you. Until next time.